guys, welcome back. So this is a follow-up video on the jumping minecart bamboo farm. So I'm enjoying it really right now, that I back and forth, come up with some new farm concepts, and then I get all you guys' feedback and also new fresh ideas in the comments that I also want to try out immediately. So there's basically two main suggestions that we had last time, how to improve this type of farm. So yeah, to recap it, the problem pretty much was that the blade that we use in order to fly the other way of the flying machine would sometimes also cut off bamboo that grows in between. Then we have a lot of items laying on the ground. So my idea would have been to get rid of the second blade, so we basically put the minecarts on, fly the other way entirely, and just rebuild the one blade we have. So basically move the trapdoors to the other side and then put the minecarts on top of there. So that's something I want to try out. But there was also a second suggestion. The second idea was regarding this farm. We have hopper minecarts below that would pick up the items. So here we had the issue that the hopper minecarts are faster than a flying machine, and the item collection would not be synchronized, breaking the bamboo. Now, yeah, if you would have just another flying machine below, that would trail behind a couple blocks, you should be able to pick up all of the items. What I'm actually a little bit afraid of is that we couldn't pick up the items that would land on the bamboo. As you can see, there's actually quite a lot of them. Here we have to wait until the bamboo grows, and then the items will be shot to the side. It's actually quite a lot. That's why I think this idea, yeah, might not work that well. So let's actually try the first idea, and then if it turns out to be not that great, then we can also check this out. So I just set off the minecart so you can get an impression how many items actually remain behind on top of the bamboo, and it's quite a lot. I played around a little bit and made a mock-up of a contraption that could swap the trapdoors to the other side. Okay, so what we would need to do is, if this type of flying machine comes in at one side, is to pull it up and then have the main flying machine fly under it. Maybe on top, swap the trapdoors to the other side, some pistons, and then push it back down, and then the flying machine, you can just push it to the other side. Okay, so we got this double piston extender that would pull it up. There we go. So we got some blocks here that prevent the sticky pistons from pulling it too far. And now we need to pull up the trapdoors. So we could just have a sticky piston, another sticky piston in front, extend and grab them. So like this. And of course those blocks are in the way. Maybe we could also do that with some extended pistons, normal pistons they could retract instead. Probably the better alternative. Then we could short pulse those pistons, or actually we need normal pistons, so we'll just push it over. Push the trapdoors over somehow. A bit tricky to power it. Could maybe just have some observers below. Could do that. There you go. And then we need, yeah, of course, sticky pistons on the other side. They would get short pulsed. Actually, we don't need a short pulse, yeah. Just normal. Pulling it back in. And then we could have, yeah, those pistons push them down. Then we could use the same contraption here to pull the blades back down. And now we've got to actually launch this flying machine. Yeah, this is something we could do really quick. Just gonna still add a non-movable block. Okay, should have done it on the other side as well. But I guess you get the idea. Okay, then we would launch this flying machine, let it fly below. Sure, we have to stop it. Okay, so around here would be good. Okay. Yeah, and now we can push this down. And now the flying machine obviously can push it the other way. We just need to get the minecarts on, but of course we could use this trick here again with the soul send. The minecarts are getting shot up here, then just launch it at the right time, and then we could reverse direction. Okay, so I'm 100% certain we could make this work, just need to set the wiring up correctly. But I also thought about it a little bit, and I think there's an easier way, which also has a bit of a disadvantage. We could also do it like this. So I have the trapdoors just installed on the blade on both sides. You can still easily push this. This would just work like this. And stop the machine real quick. The advantage is that we would just need to pull this up like twice at the end. And once again. Then this flying machine could go under and then push it the other way. And we just need to push it back down. Way simpler compared to this. Disadvantage is that we would need more flying machines, of course, because this is only 4 wide for each blade. Yeah, this is basically the main disadvantage. So we have more flying machines flying back and forth, more moving parts that are not like necessary, but way simpler. Kind of want to do both, but I think I'm just gonna go for the simpler version here, because 1 or 2 more flying machines shouldn't be that much of a problem. As always, there are also a couple technical details that cause a little bit of a headache, so we also need to get the minecarts off at the end. So the easiest way usually to do it is to just have rails below, and then the minecart would snap to it. But the problem is this main flying machine here that would fly over would grab the rail here, which is a bit of a problem. Definitely can't place the rail there. So there's basically 2 options that I see. We could maybe have sticky pistons there that would push up the rails like this, and we could lower it again. Or we actually just open the trapdoors. So power them at some point. Because if you place them right, then minecart would just glitch through as well. So if you just power those, then we could have the whole rails just 1 block lower, and then it's out of range of the slime blocks. Let's see what we could do. Okay, so I tried around a little bit, came up with a working solution. First I see that it would actually be easy to just have pistons below. They would pull up the rails and pull them back down. But in the end, I got a really nice solution here as well. So we're just gonna power the trapdoors while they're in a higher position. When they're still low like this, it's kind of tricky to power them. So of course we could use observers or something else, but always we would have the issue that the main flying machine would pick it up unless we use a double piston extender. So the way I'm doing it right now is we just pull this whole thing up. This main grabber, so the double piston extender. You can power it here. And there's actually an observer attached that would power the redstone dust line here once it's back up. So the trapdoors will be then directly opened by this observer that actually just is responsible for the sticky pistons extending there. There we go. And then the minecart can just snap through the trapdoors, falls down below here on the minecart unloading system. By the way, it would have been even easier if you could just have permanently powered blocks here. Then the trapdoors would open without a line having to be powered. But obviously there's the issue with QC. So this would power the pistons of the flying machine, which would get stuck. Those are powered all the time. If you would have those powered blocks up here, it would kind of work, but not where we actually push down the pistons. Unless we would maybe rebuild them and place them here, but then this would attach to the trapdoors on the other side. So it wouldn't really work. Yeah, so if we would use powered blocks there that are non-movable as well, then those pistons would get permanently powered. So I guess the redstone dust line and blocks it is. By the way, I added a nice little improvement for the minecart unloader. So the sole purpose of this hopper is picking up the minecart entity and putting it into the dispenser. Rest of the time, which is usually more than 99% of the time, it's not doing anything. And then we could as well lock it, because there's usually a ton of item entities next to those hoppers, which is causing extra lag. So yeah, if you could just lock it, this could be a little bit of a lag improvement. The way I'm doing it is, the rail that the minecart would actually snap to, so next to the lava cauldron, is now a detector rail, which would immediately trigger the piston, and this block that is getting powered would be pushed to the side. As you can see here, the item entry is properly picked up, and we only had to make sure to not use a redstone block here. So if you would try something like that, and of course then the dispenser would get triggered. In some cases you might even want that, but yeah, not here right now, because the plan is to have the minecarts inside of the dispenser for a while and then just trigger them later. Here you can also see the same unloading system built up in a different way. Get out. Oh, it's also working fine there. just this little extra module there. It's a little bit of a lag improvement. And like before, I've shown this a couple times already, the system. Here's the off switch, would also be not affected by it. Okay, maybe one more remark. At first, I tried something like this. Just have a redstone block here. Would basically also work. But this could be messed up with the off switch. So if you trigger this at the wrong moment, the T flip-flop here would malfunction and yeah, the whole system would break. So that's why I'm not doing it like this. I'm using the detector rail here, which actually detects the minecart incoming. Okay, I'd say we have all the necessary setups and ideas in place. Now we can just start wiring it up and putting it together. Alright, here you go, fully finished farm. So it took about 6 hours to actually get to this point. It took way longer than expected because I was struggling with some small little details, and I think it would have been more frustrating than entertaining to watch me struggle with those. All I can say, it might have been the better idea to actually have the extended pistons to get the minecarts off the trapdoors than opening the trapdoors. But at some point you're just so committed to your existing work that you don't want to start from scratch and just add some workarounds to get it to work. Maybe you can just turn the farm on and then we talk about it. It would actually cause some issues for me. That was actually the fact that the slime blocks here pushed the minecart slightly forward, and then they were basically hanging over this mud block with the rails on top, and when they fell down, well, they basically landed on the amethyst clusters. So what I did instead was then put blocks there, but here I couldn't put a block because parts of the main flying machine, the slime blocks, would have picked up the block. In the end, I just use an extended piston that gets retracted. A bit complicated, but yeah, it does the job. But the farm works really well. So as you can see here, there's very few items here that would actually not be collected. So there's still one thing that could happen, that actually in between the pistons here, the bamboo could grow. I think this is the cause for most of the items that are not collected right now, and there's really nothing you could do against this. Okay, now we unfortunately missed it. Flying machine was coming in, and everything gets processed now. So what I also did is I added the minecart unloaders on both sides, and there's even a really nice clock that you can adjust even to determine how long the minecart will be held on each side. So you can even adjust this for each side differently. I'm just using a hopper clock now, 64 items in there, so it's roughly a minute that it takes until the machine is launched again. I can also speed it up. I'm just gonna put in the items manually, then the minecarts will be launched. Shut up here, flying machine gets launched, and perfect timing. They all land on the trapdoors and harvest the bamboo. Alright, so yeah, got a working farm. But why did we do all of this? Not really in order to collect the few items that weren't before, but mostly to reduce the lag. So as you've seen in the last video, we had around 4 to 5 MSBT of item lag, and the whole machine was running at around 9 MSBT. Now we can already look at it. While the flying machines are actually active, we're looking at around 5 MSBT. So again, I'm going to do a 1 hour test to see how laggy this farm is compared to the previous version. Alright, there we go. About 1 hour has passed. Let's quickly check out the numbers. So we were running at 4.26 milliseconds per tick. So there's a huge improvement compared to the last version of this farm, which was running at around 9 milliseconds per tick. So over half the lag got reduced just by this more efficient flying machine layout. Of course, it's more complicated, but I think it's definitely worth it. Also, if you compare it again to the version where we had minecarts on rails just below the whole bamboo farm, that was running at 12 MSBT and had a huge disadvantage that the MSBT was spiking up to 30 even. Here, the MSBT, when the machine is not running, 2.6 is probably just the normal world running in the background, because there's hardly anything active right now. Even the hoppers are locked. And when the flying machines are active, we get up to 5 to 6 MSBT, which is the case right now. So, yeah, a huge improvement overall. And to be honest, at this point, I don't want to even look into the version where you have a second flying machine going below the farm, because I just can't imagine that it would be able to compete, because so many items would just land on bamboo, they can't be picked up. So this version it is. Really happy with it. By the way, we're getting 155,000 items per hour. It's a bit more if you launch the flying machines a bit more frequently, but you can, yeah, also adjust it even more to make it even more lag friendly with this clock that you have on both sides. Also got a really nice on-off switch. This should be really reliable, so you can, yeah, basically always turn it on and off on both sides as well and stop it. Okay, maybe one more thing that might be interesting to know. So with this amount of items you're getting per hour, you could fuel about 100 furnaces continuously. So this would be a medium to large sized furnace array. And yeah, for that you need quite a large bamboo farm. So this is now 100 by 96. Of course, you could even, in case you're AFK right, stretch this out even further. So you could make it 200 long and also 200 wide. So you can still expand this type of farm in case you have an even larger furnace array. So yeah, if you would go for something like 320 furnaces, you can just, yeah, with this amount of lag, definitely, in case you have a good PC or server, can definitely build it like 4 times larger. Alright, so that's all for today. In case you want, you can check out this farm in the Word download. Thanks guys for watching and see you next time. Bye bye!